Star Wars Newsnet has put up an interview with Star Wars Episode 7 and Episode 9 director JJ Abrams about Star Wars Episode 9. Now, I want to go ahead and have a quick little discussion about this interview. I will leave a link down below if you haven't read the interview yet. Star Wars Newsnet is a very credible website, always has been, and if you want to follow Star Wars news, and you want legitimate news, not clickbait crap, that's the website to go to. That one, and of course, Making Star Wars, they're great as well. Star Wars Underworld too. But they have a interesting interview here with JJ Abrams. For those who don't know, JJ is coming back to do Episode 9 of Star Wars. He did Episode 7. Rian Johnson did Episode 8. And one of the things I want to discuss specifically about it. Now, during the interview, they're very confident about Episode 9. He talks about how he feels that they have to approach Episode 9 with the same excitement that they had when they were kids, loving what these movies were, talking about the original trilogy, which we all grew up with, or at least most of us did. And, they discuss something that I found, excuse me, very, very interesting when it comes to the prequels. Basically, this is the quote that I'm going to talk about, okay? It says here that they said they're going to be brave and there will be big surprises. I got the impression that JJ felt like he had to refresh previous Star Wars moments for a modern audience in TFA, which is true. I mean, there was a lot of criticism about The Force Awakens being too much like A New Hope, and that's somewhat valid, but you have to understand that that's what they were going for. Like, the whole idea was they are going for nostalgia, but also they wanted to kind of reaffirm the trilogy and bring back the old fans that were turned off by the prequels. However, with Episode 9, things are going to go in a different direction, which is what I've been saying from the beginning, that JJ's going to do something totally different this time, now that he has a second chance. It says here, apparently they've had no interference from Kathleen or Pablo or the Lucasfilm Story Group. That's Pablo Hidalgo, Kathleen Kennedy, part of the writing team. They call it the Lucasfilm Story Group. It's the writing team. They write all this stuff. 9 is also the film which unites all three trilogies and brings everything together. That's all they would tell me. That sounds awesome. Now, it says here, moving on, I worry a little bit that the questions I was asking were too leading. I was speaking to Chris, and he was talking about the OT, the old trilogy. I said about how I grew up with the prequel trilogy, and the prequels were my entry point to Star Wars. And that's true. A lot of younger kids grew up with the prequels first. And Chris said about how 9 unites all of it. He said 9 makes it feel like they're all happening in the same universe, and there would be prequel elements in 9. They could be visual or thematic. He didn't overtly say that there would be anything returning planets or any characters from the PT or anything. So, what kind of elements are in the prequels? We gotta sit down and think about this. The whole thing about the prequels that I found interesting, when you look back at them, is that the storyline with Palpatine has always been a good one. Whether or not you like the films, the whole, how he maneuvered his way to the top, I think is a good storyline, even though the Jedi kind of came off a little dumb. I like that. And, obviously with the prophecies and things like that, the prophecy of the One, and of course, who would bring balance to the Force, and of course Anakin becoming the One, and then eventually falling to the dark side, I wonder what this actually could mean. Now, I want to talk about a rumor going around. Could be a spoiler. I don't know if it is. But one of the big rumors going around is that at the end of Episode 8, when they go to the planet Crate, which is the one that has the red dirt and they have the TIE fighters fighting the walkers and whatnot, that the planet Crate supposedly has, somewhere on that planet, there is a giant droid army left over from the prequel era. And the talk is that the Resistance, because they no longer have the support of the Republic, because most of the Armada was destroyed by Starkiller Base in Episode 7, they're going to have to go in there and reactivate the droids and use them on the good side. And I wonder if that's what they're talking about here. Again, we don't know if that's true. It's just a rumor. I just wonder if that's exactly what they're talking about here. And I just wonder if sort of the friendship aspect of the prequels between Obi-Wan and Anakin is going to be explored through other characters, but we really don't have that in the sequel trilogy, not yet. Obviously, I haven't seen Episode 8 yet, but Rey and Finn are kind of friends, but they seem to be apart for most of Episode 8, so are we going to see that bonding? I don't know, but it says here, It says here, by the time we get to episode 9, I look at that movie as one movie, as 3 movies, as 6 movies, and as 9 movies. It's something that needs to honor a story that has been told over a period of 40 years. I don't want to ignore any of it, and I respect all of it. It's something I think the fan base is going to embrace. I hope so too. I hope they bring in everything and show respect to all the different Star Wars eras. Maybe even some EU stuff for those fans. A little wink wink to them, because, you know, a lot of EU fans were pissed that Star Wars, you know, decanonized it, that Disney decanonized it, but they're still bringing in elements. So if you're out there and you're an EU fan, they're still going to use some EU stuff, you know, legend stuff now. Don't worry about that. But I love the fact that they're saying they're going to kind of bridge everything together in episode 9, so you'll be able to watch all the films together, and I think that's going to work out pretty well. So what do you think? What do you think's going on here with JJ's direction of episode 9? I'm not expecting it to be like Return of a Jedi, but I am expecting it to have like a final epic battle, sort of like Return of a Jedi did. I mean, I remember John Boyega said in an interview that episode 9 is going to be the ultimate war or something like that. It's going to be the biggest war ever. Bigger than Return of the Jedi, dude, which was an epically huge war. I can't wait to see what happens. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for checking out the video, and let's talk about episode 9. We haven't even seen episode 8 yet, alright? So we got to probably talk about that more, but what do you want to see? I want to know. Tell me. Thank you. Talk to y'all soon.